Hi, I'm Kate Riley.
And I'm Dieter Benz.
Welcome to Skykomish Weekend Viewpoint. Today we're going to be reviewing our last town council meeting, that was the March meeting. As we approach the April meeting, which is coming up here on Monday, we want to check in and see how well our council is doing and our mayor, and see what kind of progress is being made in our town. First up, we're going to be discussing the auditor's report to the town that there was some misaccounting of funds, approximately $3 million. It's going to be interesting to see how we move forward on this. Dieter, what are your thoughts?
Misaccounting doesn't mean anybody committed fraud, anybody stole anything. But it does mean this: we do not understand the finances of our town. We don't understand the importance of a large amount of money that we're now handling with this environmental cleanup issues, and that a lot of this money is legacy money. It's one-time money. If we squander or misspend it, we're not going to have a second chance here. They're sitting at this table that have sat here for years. One of them is an accountant.
Remember, no personal attacks, Dieter, please.
I didn't say. Did I say who was?
Well, it's obvious who you're talking about.
Go ahead, fine.
Okay.
It doesn't, I don't.
Somebody at this table, I believe, was an accountant, and they don't know that $3 million is missing.
You got your message. Please contact the auditors yourself and get the answer to their question about misaccounting that $3 million. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm scared. So, this would never be a concern again. What have you, as a council, decided to how to do your checks and balances? When I was keeping books, of course, it's way before all this. And through the next few years, when you got a report, it had the balance of the account in it. You need to know before you vote. And I suggest you put your heads together and come up with something.
That's what I'm afraid.
And this, then we'll be
So
moving forward in a good manner.
This next clip covers a discussion between council, mayor, and Rick Shepherdson, and it regards the purchase of a used excavator.
Let's move on. Rick, would you please tell us about your trip to California?
I went down and I looked at a 2003 John Deere 410. I mean, look what it's here of the conditions of it.
So what's the bottom line, Rick? What's cost of the machine and cost of the...
$35,000 for the machine. My recommendation is that we offer them $32,500.
All right, so what I'd like is a motion from the council to authorize the purchase of this particular backhoe.
I move that we purchase
for a not to exceed number of $38,000.
You want to go 38 rather than 40?
No, 40. That's even better.
40 with the
not to exceed.
Because we got to make the repairs to it and stuff like that.
Right.
And that would leave us an extra amount of money so that we can purchase the bucket at a later date.
That would be good.
Okay. I move that we authorize $40,000 to be set aside for the purchase of the backhoe, not to exceed $40,000. If we can get it cheaper, let's do that.
So is your motion approval to purchase?
Yes, approve the purchase.
Second?
Second that.
Okay. Henry and Kevin. All right. Any further discussion from anyone? All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you.
This was a great discussion. It lasted just a bit over 15 minutes, and it really shows what good decision making is all about. The council did a great job of interfacing with Rick Shepherdson. Rick was very prepared. He had all his research done, and we in the audience and those who see this know that in a month or two, when we watch this piece of equipment operating around town, a good decision was made. We need to see more of this type of discussion in public and this type of decision making.
Now this next clip to me is one of the most interesting of the evening. Dieter actually starts out talking about the lack of responsiveness in regard to Shawver's property, which we've discussed in a previous broadcast. They've experienced severe flooding for the last couple of years, and still the town is doing nothing. And what we see here is no response to Dieter's comments, but yet the mayor allows a personal attack on Dieter. Watch for yourselves.
Hey, Mr. Banks.
What we're getting is no answers, though, for all the people that have asked a question on this one subject. We've got time has been running through 2 flood cycles. We've heard that. But council, this is what you're not getting. You're not responding. You spent a lot of time with Rick Shepherdson, which was a good thing. and you made a good decision. You need to start making the same decisions on the big issues. You sit there, you have nothing to say, a few members come up from the audience, you poo-poo them, and they go away, and then you start talking about equipment and you all have a good time. Well, what you have to do is you have to start looking at all the issues that you have and you need to respond to them. And quite honestly, those of you at the table that do not have the vision or the courage, or you've got the background, but you haven't used it, you should resign.
Thank you. Rick?
I just have to say something about, there's a hotel that's sitting down there that's basically falling apart. So we know what a good businessman this is here, trying to dictate to the council, what they should do. It's really disturbing.
Fred, what about the personal attacks, Fred? Personal attacks.
It's a statement of fact.
A statement of fact. So when he says that it's a statement of fact?
No, he said the hotel is falling down.
That is not a statement of fact. I have a report that says the opposite.
The roof is blowing.
So it's just amazing to me that in the end, the mayor actually had to admit that it was a few roof shingles that blew off during a violent windstorm.
Well, the interesting thing here is there's a much bigger picture. The Shavers property is only the small tip of a big iceberg. And what I mean by that is, Kate, just at this meeting, a number of properties were discussed that have been negatively impacted by the Skykomish environmental cleanup here.
And with no assistance from the town.
No, just give us a short list of those that were discussed.
Well,
here.
aside from the Skykomish Hotel, we have the McAvoy House. We've got Rick Adelot's house. Shaver property, which again we discussed in a prior broadcast. A fellow named Fred Stray, and another home down that end of town owned by Glenn Yamada, I believe.
Earlier Skykomish update or Skykomish Senate that I did years ago now, 2003 probably to 2005.
It's on our archives page.
Yeah, it's on our archives page on the Skykomish Hotel website, but these issues were discussed that when the, kind of so to speak, when the crap finally hit the fan, there's a lot of people that are going to run and duck for cover, but here's who is going to be out on the point, and that's going to be the mayor and town council. Because what we're continuing to see here is a good decision made on an excavator, but absolutely zero discussion of other major issues that are going to have an impact on this town long after that excavator is, seen the cutting torch.
Our final clip for today actually shows another citizen in our town asking the same questions that I'm sure a lot of us are. What's really going on? And this guy actually reminds me a little bit of you, Dieter, only he's got that fire in his belly. He asks the questions and he keeps asking, only he's a little bit younger, and with some good training and experience, he could prove very, very good for the future of our town.
So I'm gonna Corey, you got a quick one because we need
real quick. Mike, I think most people are saying we're 40% over budget and we're still in design permit. 40% over budget, 400,000, we're at 600,000 now. Clint, are we going to keep going 40% over budget? If that's the case, we have to look at getting another $400,000 to build the project. Are we going to see that, or do you think that that's feasible? We're 40% over budget right now.
When the road gets rough, where the rubber meets the road, the American people actually understand the issues. We're very smart people. We are gifted with freedom and liberty. We can do our own research. We can reach our own conclusions. We don't need anybody like Dieter Benz or Kate Riley to tell us what's going on. We can listen, but we make our own decisions in the end. And what I like about this individual is, I have no idea who he is, but what I like is he is searching for the truth. I'm not sure he's found it yet. I can see he's come a long way. And I'm not sure we've found it yet. I'm sure we're coming a long way. But this is what Skykomish needs.
In our final segment, technical advisor Clint Stanovsky presents several issues regarding the town's finances. Research reveals that more investigation is required.
Essentially what this change order does is it's bringing the new total budget to the admittedly mind-boggling amount of $596,355.
That concludes today's broadcast. Thanks for taking your time to visit Skykomish Weekend Viewpoint.